We need to change the focus and how we deal with homeless people. We need to, instead of criminalizing them, give them a hand up. Okay, you're down and out today. This is what we're going to do. We're going to have a navigation center. You could come in here, get on your feet, help you find employment. If you can't work or on SDI disability, you can volunteer. You can help a kid learn how to read or write. You can help a kid do math. You have some skills that we need to tap into as society and bring it out in you. Everybody's not on drugs. People just have hit hard times. The rents in San Francisco are so ridiculous it doesn't make sense. And they're getting greedier and greedier. You stay in a place for a year, they're allowed to raise your rent. That's what they're going to do. That's what the cause of homelessness is. It has nothing to do with the drug population or anything like that. And as people in society who aren't homeless, we need to start looking at mankind and people who are down and out and focus on how we can help instead of how we can put them in jail. With us being the second largest population of homeless people in San Francisco, there's no beds in Bayview, period. People are getting sick. They're having heart problems. Their legs are swelling. They're doing all kind of stuff. They're walking the street. They have all kind of colds, pneumonia, you name it. They have it because they're out in the elements. The navigation center and the shelter beds will help stop that. You figure a person goes to General Hospital in an ambulance, it's like $1,000 for that ride from here to there. If they have a bed they could go to and lay down and get the rest that they need without a doctor's help, why not provide that? That's going to save everybody some money and time. You know, the resources over at General, and I love General because they do a lot. But come on, some of this stuff is preventable. And the prevention is give them a bed so they can lie down and put their feet up. Whether it's a navigation center or a shelter, they need beds out here. It's that simple.
What should we be asking our politicians?
To give us a place where they can put beds at so people can have someplace to go when they do fall on hard times. Everybody's not going to stay homeless forever. You know, if they had an opportunity, just lay down and relax. You can figure out what your next move is going to be yourself. They don't have that. They're standing on guard. Am I going to be robbed? Am I going to get this? Are the people out the shelter or in the drop-in center going to be mean to me? Is there enough room for me to go there? All I'm asking for is 100 beds. We're full every night with people sitting in those chairs. I don't have any problems with them coming. When it's raining, it's double. So I open up the dining room so they can come in there and get out of the elements. But that's not fair to us or them. You know, somebody said it's a human right to have a roof over your head. Well, what happens to their rights? And they aren't criminals. You know, they could just be down on their luck. I've had so many people who got put out of their home, lost their job. They're homeless. They don't do drugs. They go to work. They leave from here and go to work. They'll come here, take a shower at night, sit in the chair, go to sleep, get up, go to work, come back for dinner, and do the same thing over and over and over again. But there's no place for them to lay down, so they're getting sick by the minute. And it all has to do with the bed. It's not so much food, because we feed everybody who comes through there. And we're feeding like 500 people a day, breakfast and dinner total. So that's saying a lot, you know, but we can only serve 48 people upstairs in the chairs. And we leave the dining room open for people in wheelchairs so they can get out of the elements. It's rough. It's rough all the way around. You know, and you going into a house, me going into a house, well, the person next to you may not have a house. How do you feel about that? And what can you do to help them? You know, we're here to help each other. We aren't here to kick people and make sure people feel bad about their circumstances. We need help. We need this neighborhood to come together and help the people in our neighborhood. And if it means beds, because now if I say beds, you should see the smirks I get. There she goes again. Well, I'm over here every day, so yeah, there I do go again. And I'm going to keep doing the same thing over and over and over again until somebody gets it.
What would you say to people who think that the homeless people are not from San Francisco?
The people we serve at Mother Brown's are from San Francisco. They went to school here, public school here. They were educated through the San Francisco school system. Their parents owned houses here. When their parents died, something happened. All these other people came in and bought up the property. You know, Bayview at one point was the highest home ownership in San Francisco. That's not the case anymore. You know, so gentrification is alive and well. And we're also with the banks and their little Ponzi scheme to get people out of these houses, you know, foreclosing, giving out loans that they knew people could not afford to pay, then foreclosing, taking the houses, selling them to different investment people. That's what happened. That's all that happened.
And with this new supervisor election, what hard questions do we need to be asking our supervisor regarding homelessness?
If they are going to support Bayview Hunters Point's efforts to bring beds into this community, like they have in every other community. They have a bed place, a shelter in Nob Hill, which is rich. They have one in North Point. They have them every place but here. I think they even have one in the avenues. You know, so come on, why not here? And then that leads to the question, is it because they're African American, basically? Is that why? And you guys have talked about the difference in funding does not come out here to us. We already know that. So is that why we are just off the radar completely because we're black? Which, that's what it is. It's a racist move. And don't act like San Francisco people aren't racist, because they are. You know, they always have been. And like I said, I grew up here. I was born here. I grew up here. So I could talk about this city. You know, it's not like I'm an implant from someplace else. No, I'm not. I grew up in the Haight-Ashbury, but my grandmother stayed out here on Palouse.
What have you seen change in the last 10 years? Because you have a lot of people talking about gentrification.
That's what's changed. The neighborhood has changed. I wouldn't see anybody other than black on 3rd Street. Now I see people jogging up and down the street with their dogs, doing whatever they can. I see it taking over all these little shops is good and all that. But where's the black people that own them? Mm-hmm. You know, where's the shops for them? I knew Bayview, well, my entire life, they had talked about taking this neighborhood away from African Americans. Number one, because of the weather. Number two, because of the views, which is so very true. We have the best weather in the city, and we have a view of the whole bay. If you are up high, you can see everything. So I always knew it was coming, but golly, you know, the way they're doing it, it's like Thanksgiving and the Indians. Every time the new people came and took over an Indian tribe, Thanksgiving was built on them enslaving the Indians and taking over their land, taking their land from them. So it's the same thing. It's just, you know, it's black people. So what's the difference? It's history repeating itself in this neighborhood. And I might be the only last person standing because I do have a majority of all black. I think it's 1% white and 1% Hispanic in this organization. But that's who I serve. And we serve everybody. We don't turn people away because of their race or anything like that. So We're just jacked up.
What, what, uh, what could you say to people who live in Bayview, who live here in Bayview, and what can we do to help the situation on homelessness? What can the people in Bayview do?
Demand that they give their brothers and sisters, or cousins, because a lot of them are related to you, beds so they can lay down. It's a woman across the street. She fought tooth and nail to get the beds, not have them here because she's across the street, and she wouldn't want no shelter across the street from her house. But every time something go wrong over there, she calling one of my clients to come help fix it.
Okay.
You'll need to unlock your iPhone first.
So, I would say, would this be part of the Not in My Backyard
Yes.
crowd, where they're the first ones to call the police on somebody loitering?
It is. Then they put a security guard out here. You know, I'm not trying to police the neighborhood. You know, and then I noticed when I didn't police the neighborhood, it became a crack corner all of a sudden. So I had to get back out there and stop the people from coming through here trying to sell dope. You know, so it's just a lot. It's so much. And none of us really, you know, I could go off on them, which I do, because I feel like you got this whole neighborhood. Why would you come down here and start dealing dope? It hasn't been a dope corner, and I don't want it to start being a dope corner, because I do care about the people in this neighborhood. I really do. The residents over there, I love. Even the woman who was against us, I would still go over there. Me and her son are friends. We still talk. Me and her grandkids, all of us get along well. We just had different ideology until the clients went to a funeral of somebody who had died, and she was there, and they got up there and rolled on her. You know, they told her, you aren't right. Anything that goes wrong, you come and get us, and we come over here and help you, and then you gonna go public about you don't want us sleeping in a bed. So they're hypocrites.
Okay, here we go.
Before the whole thing came up about beds, there's a marijuana clinic across the street, a grow house. Nobody said anything about that grow house at all. You could put a grow house, and this was before it was legal. You could put a grow house across the street, because I'm going out there, why you guys smoking weed in front of the building? We aren't smoking weed. The only way we found out, somebody tried to rob it, and it was all on the news. So, you know, you can do that, but you can't put beds here. So that's a problem to me.
So, how do we decriminalize homelessness? What's the steps that we can do?
Giving people an opportunity. One is let them lay down so they could get their heads together for at least 120 days so they could come out of whatever funk, be assessed if they have mental issues or whatever is going on with them. Give them an opportunity to find out, to see what they can do. Understand what their dilemmas are and try and work with them. Get us some case managers out here. Have a clinical psychologist to help them see through whatever issues they have, whether it's drugs or not drugs. We had one guy, the cops brought him to us for Hope House. And he was running. He didn't want to go. He was on drugs. He was doing this. He was doing that. He didn't want to come. He didn't want to come. That man has 4 master's degrees. He finally got off drugs. He's in Hope House. He finally got off drugs, and he's taking care of all his business because he went to counseling here. You know, but the cops are the one that brought him to us. Sue Lavin was the police over homelessness. So she chased this guy down all up and down 3rd Street. All of us did. He finally got in. Now, if you see him, he used to be called late night. Now he's telling us, don't call me that no more. I'm not doing the same things I was doing with. So now we have to call him by his name. You know, so It does make a difference. Case management makes a difference. We have a psychologist on staff. She makes a big difference in talking to these people and helping them work through his problem. Late night will say, I don't do any drugs. He's in church every Sunday at Cornerstone. He's doing what he should do. You know, he came in, he was behind in his rent. He said, I gotta go handle this business so I can pay my rent. He went and handled his business, came back. So it does work, but somebody had to chase him down and stay on him. One guy, he was old as I don't know what, he's still doing drugs. I called him out there and went dead off, sent him to a Walden house so he could get himself clean. When he came back, he said, I'm not never doing that again, thank you. Because I gave him an opportunity to go get himself clean. He's around there at the senior center now. That's how old he was. What are you doing? You know, you're too old to be on anybody's dope. And he said, you sound like my mama. I said, well, you should have listened to her because she knew what she was talking about. Finally, he came to himself after I threatened him a bunch of times. He went into rehab. He's clean. He looks good. He's gotten himself back together. He's working. He's a chef. He's working someplace. You know, people just need somebody to realize that they care. And they'll go, if it's tough love or not tough love, they'll go the whole 9 yards with you as long as you're showing the effort. And that's what happened with Late Night. I went into his room one time. Oh, God. Now I go in there spick and span spotless. You know, you could eat off his floors. So it's just giving people an opportunity to change their life. Nobody wants to live homeless, you know, period. Whether you're on drugs or not, you don't want to live in the street. You want to be able to say, okay, this is where I live, and be responsible for it.
So I've noticed that there's people complaining about people hanging around on 3rd Street, right? So they look at the police to like, or to their politicians, how are you going to clean up the street? How are you going to get people off the streets, right? Let's talk about
Wait a minute. I'm a native of San Francisco. My grandmother moved out here when I think I was about 8. It's always been people hanging out on 3rd Street my entire life. Right. I'm 62 now. So, you know, there was people hanging out on Haight Street when I was coming up. There was people on Haight Fillmore when I was coming up. People hang. And a lot of the people down there work.
Right.
You
on
know,
Ennis too. They all work too.
They're
work. Just hanging out.
They're just hanging out after they get off work or before they go to work. That's what people do. They hang out. So who wants to clean it up and make it? I know at one point, maybe 2 years ago, they did clean up 3rd Street. You look down the street and it was like a ghost town. Where is it? That's when the Bright Group wears.
That's when theft happens. When nobody's around. So careful what you ask for.
Exactly. But people have always hung out. So what's the big deal? Right. They can't hang out anymore?
Wait, how many homeless, what are the numbers in Bayview? You said it was the second
largest in the city. I think it's 1,900 people.
In Bayview? And then how many beds are in Bayview?
0.
0 beds in Bayview. And how many homeless do we have in Bayview? There's about 1,900 people out here homeless. Kevin Fagan just told me that there's caves down there someplace that people are living in and out of those caves. He's walked through them and talked to them. Yep. But I try not to talk about that because one time we did the homeless count. I told them where the homeless people were, and then the police came through and tore everything up. I don't want to do that again. Yeah.